Someone walks through the beach house door, and just like that, everything changes. Belly thought she was finally getting a grip on her feelings, finally starting to breathe again. But this one return? It might pull her back into the same confusion. She was trying to escape, the last episode left us with. Belly caught between two tides her past with Conrad and her growing closeness with Jeremiah. Both boys are still circling her, but for once, it seemed like Belly was learning to stand alone. She spent time reflecting, walking by herself on the beach, even avoiding late-night talks that always ended in mixed signals. Conrad had that distant look again, the one that hides so much behind calm silence. Jeremiah, on the other hand, was louder in his love, but also more restless. As summer kept slipping by, Cousins Beach didn't feel like the place for heartbreak anymore. It felt like a place to heal. But now the trailer for episode 5 flips all of that. We open with a calm morning shot, seagulls, soft waves, and the porch of the beach house. It's quiet. But that kind of quiet never lasts. In the summer I turned pretty. A knock on the door, Belly's head turns. The music slows down. And then comes the moment that sets everything in motion. The door swings open. And we don't see the full face, just the reaction. Belly freezes, her lips part, her eyes go wide. Whatever peace she was starting to feel, gone, they're back. That's what the trailer wants us to focus on. That sudden return, that shift in Belly's energy and the tension rising around her like a storm cloud. Who is it? A figure from the past? A person she thought was gone for good? That's the mystery the trailer builds up without revealing too much. But there are clues. Just before the cut, we see a pair of worn-out sneakers step onto the wooden floor. A voice, familiar but distant, says her name softly, Belly. The kind of voice you only get from someone who once meant everything and then disappeared. Fans are already guessing. Is it Cam? Is it Laurel's ex? Or someone connected to Susanna's memory, someone who brings back not just feelings but guilt? Beyond that return, the trailer is full of small signals that this episode will be a turning point. Belly is seen holding a note, one she crumples in her fist before shoving it into her pocket. She's walking along the shore again, but this time she's not alone. Jeremiah trails a few steps behind, like he's afraid to close the space between them. Then there's Conrad, staring out a window at night, jaw tight. A guitar resting beside him that he doesn't play. The trailer doesn't give us full scenes, it gives us flashes. A quick glance between Belly and Taylor, a bonfire where someone storms off. A hug that's either too long or not long enough. A voiceover that says, "Some people come back, but not always for the right reasons." That line might be the heart of this episode because the story isn't just about someone returning. It's about what their return brings with them. Regret. Hope or chaos. It's not just anyone. The person who walks through that beach house door is someone who was supposed to be gone. Someone whose return is more than just a surprise, it's a disruption. And while the trailer never shows their full face, the clues are layered in every frame. The faded hoodie, the camera's focus on Belly's frozen reaction, and that one whispered name, all of it points to Cam Cameron. Yes, the same Cam who once took Belly on a boat ride under the stars. The one who liked her quietly, respectfully before. All the chaos of Conrad and Jeremiah pulled her in deeper. Back in season 1, Cam represented something simple, calm affection, easy laughter, and moments that felt light. But now, his return might not be so peaceful. In the trailer, we catch a blink and you'll miss it moment. Cam standing at the edge of the pier, backpack slung over one shoulder, staring toward the house. He doesn't look like the old Cam. He's changed. A little older, more serious, and more distant. His arrival seems quiet, but his presence hits Belly like a wave she wasn't ready for. Why now? Why episode 5? This season has been circling one big question. Can Belly ever really move forward when she's still tied to her past? Every character around her represents a different version of love and loss. Conrad, the boy she dreamed about but never fully understood. Jeremiah, the best friend who always showed up but wanted more. And now Cam, the what if that she let go too early. Cam's return brings something new to the table. He's not part of the Fisher family drama. He doesn't come with grief or tension. He's not tangled in the same history as the others, and maybe that's exactly why he's so dangerous. He offers Belly a different path, one outside the heartbreak triangle, one that feels safe. But the truth is, safety doesn't always mean clarity. The trailer shows us just enough to guess that Belly's emotions are about to spiral. There's a scene where she's sitting in her room staring at an old journal. Another flash shows her looking back over her shoulder while walking away from the beach bonfire, eyes darting between two shadows behind her. And then there's that rooftop moment, Belly and Cam side by side, neither speaking, just sitting under the stars. It mirrors their first date, but this time the silence feels heavier. There's too much unsaid. Jeremiah sees it too. In one frame, he watches from a distance as Belly talks to Cam, his expression, not jealousy, concern. Like he's not just worried about losing her, but worried about why she's opening the door to someone from so long ago. Is she running away from her feelings again? Is she trying to erase the pain by replacing it with something easier? Conrad's reaction is harder to read. He doesn't say a word in the trailer, but that alone says so much. One quiet shot shows him walking past the front porch as Cam arrives. His eyes shift for just a second. There's no confrontation, no smile, just silence. Conrad has always been the one to hold everything in. But this time, that silence might break him more than anyone realizes. And then there's Steven. Belly's brother doesn't appear much in this trailer, but when he does, it's to deliver one key line. You really think dragging the past back will fix the mess you're in? That line doesn't just land on Belly, it lands on us. Because the truth is, no one in this show has truly let go of the past. Not Belly, not the boys, not even the beach house itself. And Cam's return? It's just another reminder that the past never stays buried, not in Cousins. What makes this episode so unique is that it isn't just about who she chooses between Conrad and Jeremiah. It's about whether she's ready to choose herself. Cam's arrival forces her to look at who she used to be, the innocent, unsure version of Belly that existed before the loss, before the late-night heartbreaks, before the weight of being in the middle of everyone's emotions. And maybe that's what scares her the most, because what if she's not that girl anymore? What if she can't go back? As the trailer ends, we hear Belly's voice soft, almost like she's talking to herself. Everything felt different, and then he came back. That line echoes long after the trailer cuts to black dots, so now the question is, will Cam's return help her finally find clarity? Or will it pull her deeper into the storm she's been trying so hard to escape? Asterisk, it doesn't happen all at once. Belly's crisis doesn't crash in like a storm. It creeps in quiet, slow, like fog rolling over the shore. You can still see the road ahead, but suddenly everything feels uncertain. That's where she is now, right in the middle of the fog. And the return of Cam, or whoever truly walks through that door, doesn't just confuse her, it exposes the truth she's been avoiding all season. She doesn't actually know what she wants. In the trailer, there's a moment so subtle it's easy to miss. Belly sits alone on the old wooden swing, the one that creaks with every breeze. She's not crying, she's not talking. She's just still, and that stillness says more than words ever could. She's stuck. Not because she has too many choices, but because every path feels like it leads back to heartbreak. Cam's return doesn't come with fireworks. He doesn't beg for a second chance. He doesn't even press her for answers. And that makes it harder, because Belly can't dismiss him as drama or noise. He's calm. He listens. He remembers the small things, like how she takes her coffee or how she used to write poems in the margins of her notebooks. In one scene, they're walking near the dunes, talking softly. He tells her, "You used to laugh more." And it's such a simple line, but it slices through her because he's right. This version of Belly, the one standing in the middle of two boys, haunted by grief, carrying the weight of past summers, is not the same girl who first came to Cousins with sand in her shoes and a heart full of wonder. She's older, stronger, maybe, but also more guarded. More tired. And in that moment we see it. She misses who she used to be. Jeremiah sees the change too. In the trailer, he tries to talk to her, reaching out, asking what she's thinking. But Belly doesn't answer him right away. She looks out at the ocean instead, like she's hoping the waves will speak for her. Jaramir's frustration starts to show. Not in anger, but in quiet pain. He's been patient. He's been steady. But even the strongest hearts break when they feel unseen. Conrad, meanwhile, keeps his distance. He's been pulling back all season, unsure of where he fits, unsure of whether he even deserves another chance. But Belly can feel it. His silence isn't peace, it's fear. And the problem is, she's afraid too, afraid of hurting him again, afraid of loving him again, afraid of falling back into something that felt like everything once, but left her shattered. There's a key moment teased in the trailer where Belly walks into the kitchen late at night and finds a note on the counter. It's folded, old school, handwritten. She opens it slowly. We don't see all the words, but one line stands out. You don't have to choose right now. And that line unravels her. Because choosing is all she's been trying to do. Choosing between brothers, choosing between loyalty and love, between guilt and happiness, between her past and her future, later. We see her in front of a mirror trying on an old dress, the one from the debutante ball. The one that once made her feel like someone else. Now, it barely fits, not physically, but emotionally. It represents who she was trying to be, perfect, poised, picked, but the truth is she's no longer that girl either. She's growing, changing, and it scares her because no one prepared her for how hard it is to outgrow your own story, and that's Belly's real crisis. It's not about Cam or Conrad or Jaramir, it's about her. For the first time she's asking, who am I when no one's watching me? Who am I when I stop being what everyone else wants? This episode is shaping up to be Belly's emotional breaking point. Not because something dramatic happens, but because she finally admits to herself that she doesn't have all the answers. And maybe she never will. But that realization, painful as it is a kind of freedom. She doesn't have to choose out of guilt. She doesn't have to hold on to the past out of fear. She can stop trying to fix everything and start figuring out what makes her feel alive again. The final shot in this part of the trailer is haunting. Belly standing at the water's edge, waves crashing in, hair blowing across her face. Behind her, three figures spaced out, not fighting, not talking, just watching, and Belly. She takes one step forward into the water. No one follows. That's the image this episode will leave us with. A girl caught between love and loneliness, between memory and possibility. And maybe, just maybe, choosing herself for once, summer at Cousins Beach has always felt like a second heartbeat, a place where feelings rise with the tides and crash when you least expect them. But in episode 5, something shifts. The golden haze of nostalgia fades and the air grows heavy. The beach house, once a symbol of freedom and love, starts to feel like a trap for everyone inside it. And for Belly, it's not just the house that's closing in. It's the weight of everyone's expectations and the pressure of her own heart pulling in too. Many directions at once. The trailer doesn't show any huge blow-ups, no screaming matches or teary goodbyes. But that's what makes it more powerful. The storm is quiet, it's brewing under the surface. We can feel it in the silences between the characters, in the way Conrad's eyes avoid Belly's, and in the way Jaramir's hands tremble slightly when she says Cam's name. The tension isn't loud, it's lived in. There's one scene that lingers long after the trailer ends. Belly walks into the living room late at night. Conrad is there, sitting in the dark, the only light coming from the flickering TV screen. He doesn't look up right away. She sits on the armrest, and for a moment they don't speak. Then he says, I thought we were past this. Belly doesn't reply. Because maybe she thought the same thing. Maybe she wanted to believe that the past could stay buried. But the look on her face says it all. Some ghosts aren't ready to leave. This moment is important, not because it confirms feelings, but because it shows how fragile everything has become. Conrad has always been the hardest to read. He hides behind logic, distance, and a desire to not hurt the people he loves. But in this episode, that calm starts to crack. Not in anger, but in sadness. We might see him break, not in front of Belly, but alone. And that's when we'll know he still loves her, deeply, quietly, hopelessly. Meanwhile, Jaramir has never been good at hiding his emotions. He's always felt everything loudly, with color, laughter, and heat. But now the light in him dims. A bit. He's realizing that being the one who always shows up doesn't guarantee you'll be chosen. One part of the trailer shows him skipping stones by the lake, his jaw clenched, knuckles white. Taylor walks up behind him and says, "You can't make someone love you the way you love them." And for the first time, Jeremiah doesn't fight it. He just nods. That nod is everything, because maybe this is the episode where Jeremiah finally pulls back not out of defeat, but out of exhaustion. He's poured so much of himself into Belly, hoping she'd eventually see him the way he sees her. But now, he's tired of waiting, and that's dangerous. Because when Jeremiah starts to protect his heart, the energy in the house shifts, and then there's Cam. His return doesn't just shake Belly, it shakes everyone. He brings back a version of Belly that both Conrad and Jeremiah don't recognize, a lighter version, a freer version. One that laughs differently, listens more quietly, and doesn't feel the weight of family history pressing down on her. Cam doesn't push, he doesn't chase, he's just present. And that presence becomes a mirror for Belly in him. She sees the parts of herself she thought were gone. The girl who liked books more than boys. The girl who didn't need to be chosen to feel special. The house, too, becomes a character in episode 5. The walls feel tighter. The laughter in the kitchen has faded. Every room holds memories that no longer feel warm. There's a scene where Laurel walks into Susanna's old room. She stops, closes her eyes, and quietly shuts the door again. She doesn't speak. She doesn't cry. But we know grief is still living in that house, and everyone feels it. Even if they don't say it out loud. Later in the trailer, there's a sudden cut to the group sitting around the dinner table. It's awkward. Forks scrape, no one talks. And then Cam says something simple. "It's nice to be back." The silence that follows? Deafening. Because no one really knows what back means anymore. Back to the beach house? Back to who they used to be? Back to a time when things made sense? Belly is caught in the middle again, but this time something's different. She isn't trying to smooth things over. She isn't playing peacekeeper. She's watching, listening, feeling, and maybe for the first time in a long while, she's not rushing to fix anything. And then the beach storm, near the end of the trailer. We get a glimpse of thunderclouds rolling in, waves crashing hard against the rocks, and a power outage that turns the entire beach house dark. It's symbolic, but it's also real. Everyone's stuck under the same roof. No distractions. No escape, just feelings, truth, and maybe finally answers. The storm might be the moment. Everything comes out. Secrets, confessions, pain that's been swallowed all season. And when the lights come back on, nothing will be the same. Because that's what episode 5 is truly about. Not choosing who you love, but learning how to live with who you've become.